is a book review of the Cimmerian. Now, it's not Conan the Cimmerian. It would have made it a lot easier to find. I must admit, when I was searching for it, couldn't find it because I kept on looking for Conan the Cimmerian. So this is the Cimmerian Volume 1. It's hardback. You can see it's obviously hardback. And it's from Ablaze. The book came out in 2021, 2022, over the Christmas month period. And what is it? It's 144 pages in colour all the way through, other than obviously the bits where it's R.E. Howard's text, because they've got that, and they've also got some extras, but I'll go through that in a few minutes. Now, I've just got one page open because I want to show you the comic book as well. So the stories in this, it's Conan the Cimmerian, obviously called Cimmerian, so when you're searching for it, look for that, from Ablaze, Queen of the Black Coast, and Red Nails. Now, these were originally out in comic book, and I've got the original comic there. And always when you do that, it's always, unfortunately, so I'm just going to put the two open there. Now, I think that it's slightly, the comic book, very subtly in some places, slightly bigger than the pages of this book. Just very subtle. It is like minuscule, but to me it looks like big. And in others, they look absolutely identical. Now, the colouring, you can just see there. I think that the book is slightly brighter, slightly more saturated colour than the actual original comic book. It's very subtle again, but when I compare the two, and I'm sort of just going to damage this book, and actually this book's already damaged a few places already, so, but when you look at it, I just think that it's probably slightly brighter, just slightly, very subtly brighter. Now, just very easy to damage because I already scuffed it. Just did that, just accidentally just knocked it against something, and it just slightly scuffed. Slightly disappointing. However, that happens. So 144 pages, and I'm just going to quickly go through this book. But another thing before I go to review the actual book, I will get there, is that now this isn't the same story, of course, it's not Queen or Red Nails. This is another one. This is the Conan one there. This is the French version, and you can see the size. Now, it would have been great if Ablaze had brought it out in the same size. I would have loved that. I mean, I would have paid extra just to get it, you know, another $10 or something on top, bring it out full on, same size as this, would have been amazing. Better quality paper. But, however, they've gone for this. Maybe, hopefully, in the future, they will bring out the full-on size version. I would love to see that. I especially would buy it for the Frost Giant's Daughter, which is one of my favourite stories. That's in Volume 2. So, let's go to the actual stories. Well, the stories are great. Now, there's no forward, there's no page numbering, which is slightly disappointing. I always love an introduction, just a bit of description about behind the scenes, about what they did, reasons why they chose these stories, reasons, and maybe a little bit about the French translation, version, obviously it's been translated. Now there's some details here, obviously. Now I'm not certain who translated it. It didn't actually say. It's a special thanks, etc. Letterers, all that sort of stuff. The comic book itself, well, it's full of the usual sort of things you expect from Conan. Lots of head lopping. Straight away, that scene there, I just sort of put that one. It's a real. There's not actually that many pages where you've got some very dramatic sort of fight scenes. Obviously, you've got, and I think Belit or Belit, I don't know how you want to say her name. She's absolutely beautifully drawn in this. Absolutely glorious comic. I love, of course, the good old. One of the things I love about Conan is always going to these cities, always deserted cities. That, of course, generally are never deserted. There's always some issue or problem. I love that sort of the desert as well with the quote dragon or / dinosaur. I just think absolutely. I love those sort of ancient city ones. Just they're some of my favourites. Some great little scenes there all the way through. Wow, really, really dramatic drawing. I love. The artwork is superb throughout, and the writing is absolutely good. Though I did notice a few slight spelling mistakes in there. I was thinking, spelling mistake. I shouldn't criticise those sort of things. That's terrible. But you do. If you go through it and you notice, you think, no, you don't sell the word XYZ like that. Last time I checked, I might be wrong on that. However, you got that brilliant story, and it is a lovely story. It really is a beautiful story. I'm certain you probably read it in other forms because, of course, you've got the great stories from Marvel Comics, Dark Horse. They've all done those sort of adaptations, and of course, you've got the brilliant, and you've got the stories here. So once you've enjoyed the superb comic book, love this comic book. It's a great little story. just beautiful colours. I love those colours as well. Look at that, just glorious. Now this comic, The Queen of the Black Coast, is great for the colouring as well as the artwork. The artwork's like, it's an unusual Conan. I have to say Conan is slightly, not how I visualise Conan, but it's still a very enjoyable. But then again, you look at the old pictures in Weird Tales, the real early ones. I mean, Conan looks very odd and very different from one that sort of I feel like John Buscema version. You just get used to a particular version. But however, you've got this lovely, obviously, R.E. Howard as well. So it's nicely included. Near enough like would have been even better, and maybe they couldn't because of obviously the illustrations, maybe would have been if they had done it like the Weird Tales. Actually on the original thing, that would have been amazing with the illustrations. However, still great to have the stories. They're great stories. R.E. Howard, brilliant, love them. Anyway, next one, Red Nails. I've always found Red Nails an unusual story. Not one, I know it's very popular, but it's one that less popular. I mean, my favourite's Frost Giant's Daughter. I love that one. But Red Nails, still, it's good. It's got Valeria or Valera. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where everyone will have a different way of saying it, I'm certain. So you've got brilliant artwork. Now, this, I say brilliant art. The artwork is superb. But I did struggle with the way it's done in terms of a very muted, the contrast. I mean, it's got all the features that I love, which is, of course, the deserted city. It's got the deserted city there. But I have to say, it gets quite, and I'm going to go to a bit here a little bit later in the story. There's actually bits where you've got here, say like this bit, and there's some scenes here where you really can hardly make out what's happening in the background. The lettering and writing, all fine. I mean, I love it. It's perfectly easy to read. Flow is brilliant, great little story. But I had to say I did struggle really. And also when you get, because obviously now, compared with the French one, obviously the French one's bigger. And I think there's also black and white ones as well. Imagine the black and white version. Now that would be even better. Because I think in this case, personally, and other people will probably disagree, the colouring and just the contrast just makes it very hard because I can hardly make anyone out there. And there's lots and lots of sort of scenes like that where you've really got very murkiness, where you've got people walking into, I mean, very dramatic and all that sort of thing. But it's just, to me, a bit too hard to really make out what's actually happening, which is slightly disappointing in that respect. But still a great story. Red Nails, again, I'm certain you've probably read Red Nails' story and seen it in other forms, obviously R.E. Howard, the Barry Windsor, all those sort of things. So, but it's still always great to see another interpretation of it. And this interpretation is absolutely fine and thoroughly enjoyable. Very, very dramatic, very brutal. As always, we have lots of people getting swords through them. Just turn to a page here and advantage, and this guy's got a pole right through him, not looking very pleasant. He's probably not going to be reading the story any time soon. And you've got, of course, the story again, the rest of the Red Nails. And it actually, quite often when I looked through and went backwards and forwards, and I did actually quickly check, there was actually quite a few of the wording, you felt the story. So it's nicely done. Obviously, it has been trimmed down because you can see there's an awful lot of text there. I mean, if you were going to do a comic book where you really literally translated it exactly all the way through, you'd have probably a 1,000-page book because there's lots of scenes here where you just keep doing. But obviously, comic books, you have to sort of trim it back. What's essential in the story? What, you could have a scene, the liquor slopped over, stinging her lips. Now, you could probably do a page on that if that's what really was interesting in terms of if you were doing a comic book. Just think, what, that's what I'm going to concentrate on, the drip of the, on her lips. It's the sort of thing, maybe. But that's always the thing with comic books. You have to decide what do you want to tell in the story. So, and you've got this, like I say, the extras. Now, this is the thing that makes me wonder about. Obviously, because this is obviously a sketched form of it. But I mean, look at this. This is a classic case in point. You've got here. Look at that, the black and white. To be honest, I would prefer it in black and white because, of course, I'm being British. I grew up with black and white comics. And to me, I love black and white. I have no problem with black and white. Colour, it's great because I love colour as well. I mean, I've got books where I just love the colour. And sometimes I don't love the rest of the book. I love the colour of the book. It's just, that's the thing. but sometimes black and white, like in black and white movies and things, you know, film noir. Love those. And I love that. Look at that, just beautiful. Well, other than the carnage around, not, but it's still just a beautiful bit of artwork all the same. Obviously, the subject matter may be a bit thing, but you've got some great extras there as well. And also you've got, conveniently, a lovely map, which is always handy. And I always loved, there was a, and I think I probably pointed it out before, because it's one of my favourite things, is that they actually did an overlay where they thought that this was all mapped out to in terms of our world. And Cimmeria, of course Conan, was right over my county. And I was thinking, doesn't look like particularly a place that has changed quite a bit. I can't imagine there's many people looking like Conan around here in good old Kent somehow. Anyway, to the book itself, I absolutely loved it. I'm so pleased I got this, because I hope that Ablaze bring out all the other volumes as well. All the other, because I think there's about 10, 12, I'm not certain. There's quite a few French ones. Let's hope that they bring out the rest, not just obviously just 2 volumes of this. Be really great. They have all of the Conan stories. But anyway, who knows? Hopefully that was the case. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is totally recommended. Absolutely great. Like I said, the comic books are pretty good. I'm still yet to, unfortunately, get my copy of Frost Giant's Daughter comic book. I have tried relentlessly to get it. I just don't think, I think I'll probably end up just getting it in these volumes. So that's volume 2. I think that's coming out in April-ish. So brilliant.